Hey everyone, Chris here. I want to do a video today to talk about how letting go of fear can really, and your attachment to things can really allow you to be a lot more free and happier within yourself. And I'm here in Annapurna Trek in Nepal at the moment, just crossing a landslide area, as you can see behind me, with the rocks, and if you can sort of see the land is very sloped. So here, every year there's landslides and people dying, and trekking across an area like this really gets your heart racing. Certain people I know just won't even walk across it. If you can sort of see behind me, the trail goes on for at least a mile and a half, and just very thin roads, thin trail, about a meter wide, slope going all the way down. You step to the right, you're a dead man. and there's dropping like rocks and stones, so you've got to be careful. And overall, that is on the opposite end of the spectrum. The overall, when people say, well, how do I let go of my fear? And it comes down to letting go your fear, the fear of death. And it comes down to three things which I want to discuss in this video. Your attachment to things, and in terms of your outcomes of certain situations, labeling things as good or bad, and also your attachment to people's validation, approval, your relationships with people can lead you in this fear state. So if you ever feel you've just constantly got negative thoughts in your mind, you worry, you have a lot of anxiety. And what I've realized now is with these particular areas, by letting go of those particular situations, I've really have begun to worry less and less, to the point where it is dropping. Of course, there's still maybe attachment to certain things, but overall, if you look at it from a state of, you're in a state of fear where everything's fearful, you worry about everything in your life, or you're in a state of love where you worry about things, you don't really worry about things, you just look around, you appreciate things more, you're grateful for what you have, you just seem to love everything that happens in your life. And for example, I went to the top of the lake, which you can't really see, but it's a lot further up behind the mountains behind me, about 1,000 meters up, and it was torrential rain. It started snowing. We got caught in a bit of a snowstorm, and we couldn't see the lake. We couldn't see the lake at all. And what this meant was a lot of people were just there for a minute and they just went back. But I just began to realize that it doesn't really matter if we see the lake or not. So overall, it's looking at your life and seeing what in particular it is that you are attached to, what it is that's sort of holding you, it's keeping you in that point of fear. What is it you worry about? One good thing as well to look at is like your dreams. If you have nightmares, or there's certain things you keep worrying about. So for example, I keep having dream of that my laptop was got stolen, and then I realized there was a certain attachment to that, and then I just dug a lot deeper and seen what it was exactly that I was attached to, and it's like maybe with money, because the point is, at the end of the day, is if you do lose everything anyway, it happens, and you have to accept it, and you don't want to then panic and create too much anxiety in your life. And second is trying to control certain outcomes. Remember, you can't control everything, and this comes down to labeling things as good or bad. For example, like I went to the lake yesterday, and it was heavy snow at the top. You couldn't see anything, and these were some beautiful views. I was really looking forward to it, but it's just what happens. I realized then, why label it as good or bad? Like in the rain, like in London in particular, or in England, it's like when it rains, it's considered to be such a bad thing. It's just nature, you can't control it. So you can't let it get you up or down. So if you don't label it as good or bad, it just happens, and then there's less things to be fearful about. And then finally is with your relationships and clinging on to relationships. Perhaps you want to meet someone. If you're single or you're in a relationship and you feel, you lose that person, it's going to destroy you. It's going to, and again, this is an attachment to that. and the fear of being without that, you won't be happy. So one good thing as well is just to realize with relationships with other people is to not get too caught up with hanging around with maybe the same people. Spend a bit of time on your own, go off, do your own thing, make more and more friends, and then you become attached to less. So I'm doing this trek now. As you can see right now, I'm on my own, and a lot of people do it in groups. They do treks whoa, careful. They do treks in groups, and they meet people probably on the first day, and they stick with them for the whole trek. And for me, I kind of like if you've seen the film Into the Wild, where you have a few people for a day or two, and then you go off and you do your own thing, and then you meet more people, and you learn more and more. You learn more and more off different people, and that's part of life, you know. This state of fear is that if you lose something, you know, you feel like your life is over. A state more of love is whatever happens, you just begin to love it, and the less you're attached to, the more and more things you enjoy, you love, and you just appreciate what's around you. Being out here now, every time I see something, it's just I'm so appreciative to see this amazing landscape and things that I encounter. Whereas if I was in a state of fear, I'd just be anxiously in my thoughts all the time. Oh, you know, I've wasted a day here, or you know, I'm not going anywhere because it's raining, and that's bad. You know, I'm on my own, I'm fearful. So overall it will drop, and the more you get to a higher state, your positivity will really reign through, and you really begin to trust yourself, to love yourself more, and that's how you can really detach from people, and not really be attached to things, and overall, yeah, just become that person. And then you'll just be able to influence more and more people, and people will be influenced from you because you become more fearless. So there's my video. There's a few points put in there. Just wanted to capture some of this in the background. I thought it's amazing. It's obviously can be quite dangerous. I think this time of year it's fine, but you know, stuff has happened. There was an English girl who was hit by a boulder around here somewhere, like a month ago, so the fear creeps in. Okay guys, so signing off, speak to you soon, and remember the points that I mentioned, and look to really let go of being fearful, and remember it's negative energy. It's taken it away from you. It's taking the enjoyment of life. So, learn to practice. See you soon.